Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. If you walk into 2026 the same way you walked into every other year, hoping, wishing, praying, but not changing, then 2026 will look the years you're trying to forget. See, life doesn't change because the calendar changes. Life changes when you change. That's the truth. There is a golden rule you can't have to ignore, take responsibility for your life and act on it every single day. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Today. Because nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to knock on your door and hand you discipline, purpose, or success. That part is on you. And let me tell you something that can completely shift the direction of your life. One clear rule, lived every single day, can change everything. Most people think transformation comes from big moments, lucky breaks, or sudden inspiration. That's not how it really works. Real change comes from clarity. When your mind is clear about what matters and what doesn't, your actions start lining up. And when your actions line up, your life has no choice but to move forward. The problem is not that people don't want success. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants peace, money, respect, and freedom. The real problem is confusion. Too many rules. Too many voices. Too many opinions. Social media tells you one thing, friends tell you another, fear tells you something else. And when everything feels important, nothing truly is. That's why having one golden rule matters. One principle you come back to when life gets loud. One standard that guides your decisions when emotions try to take over. Think about it. Every time your life went off track, it wasn't because you didn't know enough. It was because you ignored what you already knew. You knew what you should do, but comfort talked louder. Distraction looked more attractive. Fear felt safer. A single rule cuts through all that noise. It becomes your anchor. When you're tired, you don't debate, you follow the rule. When you're tempted, you don't negotiate, you follow the rule. When you're confused, you don't freeze, you follow the rule. People fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack consistency. And consistency is impossible without clarity. One rule gives you that clarity. It simplifies your life. It forces you to ask better questions. Not, how do I feel today? But, what does my rule demand from me today? That shift alone separates winners from wishers. Your future doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be aligned. When your thoughts, actions, and values move in the same direction, progress becomes inevitable. One rule helps you align. It reminds you who you are trying to become, not who you used to be. It keeps you focused when results are slow and faith is being tested. Most people quit because they expect fast rewards for slow effort. A golden rule trains you to respect the process. It teaches patience. It builds discipline. And discipline, not motivation, is what carries you on days when nothing feels exciting. Motivation will leave you. Feelings will lie to you. But a rule you've committed to will keep you steady. Look at anyone who has built something meaningful. They didn't do everything right, but they did a few things right for a very long time. That's the power of one rule. Repeated daily, it compounds. Small actions done consistently create massive results over time. Miss a day, forgive yourself, return to the rule. Fall short, learn, return to the rule. Get distracted, refocus, return to the rule. That's how progress is made. When you step into a new year without a guiding principle, you drift. When you step in with one clear rule, you move with intention. Life stops happening to you and starts responding to you. Decisions get easier. Boundaries get stronger. Confidence grows not because life is perfect, but because you trust yourself to follow your own standard. So understand this deeply. You don't need more information, more plans, or more promises. You need one rule you refuse to break. One truth you live by when nobody is watching. One commitment that shapes your choices daily. That single rule, honored consistently, has the power to change your direction, your mindset, and ultimately your life. Discipline matters more than motivation, And most people don't understand this until life teaches them the hard way. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings change. You wake up some days ready to conquer the world, and other days you don't even want to get out of bed. If your progress depends on how you feel, then your progress will always be unstable. That's why discipline is the real separator. Discipline shows up when motivation disappears. Discipline does the work when excuses start sounding reasonable. People say they are waiting to feel inspired, but inspiration doesn't pay the price for success. Discipline does. Every meaningful result in life is built on actions repeated even when you're tired, bored, or unsure. Nobody sees those moments. Nobody applauds the early mornings, the late nights, the quiet sacrifices. But those moments are exactly where character is built. Discipline trains you to do what needs to be done, not what feels good in the moment. Motivation is loud at the beginning. It makes promises. It fills you with excitement, but it doesn't stay. The moment things get uncomfortable, motivation starts making excuses. Discipline, on the other hand, is quiet and steady. It doesn't argue. It doesn't negotiate. It simply says, this is what we do, and then it gets to work. When you rely on discipline, your life becomes consistent, and consistency always wins in the long run. Most people quit not because they can't do it, but because it gets boring. The results don't come fast enough, the praise isn't loud enough, and the grind starts to feel lonely. Discipline prepares you for that phase. It teaches you to respect the process even when the process doesn't reward you immediately. It reminds you that progress is happening even when you can't see it yet. Discipline is also about self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, your confidence grows. You start trusting yourself. And when you trust yourself, you move differently. You speak differently. You stop settling for less because you know what you're capable of. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're telling yourself that your future matters more than your temporary feelings. Life will test you. There will be days when quitting feels easier than continuing. Days when shortcuts look tempting. Days when nobody would blame you for giving up. Discipline is what keeps you standing in those moments. It's the voice that says, not today. It's the strength that keeps you moving when everything inside you wants to stop. Understand this: discipline is not punishment. It's freedom. It frees you from regret. It frees you from wasted potential. It frees you from looking back and wishing you had tried harder. When you discipline your time, your habits, and your choices, you gain control over your life. And control is powerful. The people you admire didn't become successful because they felt motivated every day. They became successful because they showed up anyway. They did the work when it was uncomfortable. They stayed committed when it was inconvenient. Over time, discipline turned effort into excellence. As you move forward, remember this truth: motivation will come and go, but discipline stays. If you build your life on discipline, your progress won't depend on moods, circumstances, or excuses. It will depend on your commitment. And commitment, when practiced daily, has the power to change everything. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about success, when we talk about living a life that matters, there is one key idea that most people completely overlook, and that is the power of discipline. Now, I know discipline isn't a word that gets people jumping out of bed excited in the morning. It doesn't sound flashy, it doesn't sound glamorous, and it doesn't get you likes or followers overnight. But let me tell you something: discipline is the invisible bridge between dreams and reality. It's the quiet, consistent effort you put in day after day, even when nobody is watching, even when you don't feel like it, that separates the people who live ordinary lives from the people who leave extraordinary legacies. Discipline isn't just about waking up early or working hard. It's about controlling the things you can control, sticking to your commitments, and showing up even when it hurts, even when it's uncomfortable. Too many people enter a new year thinking that motivation alone will carry them. They set resolutions, they make plans, they post about their goals on social media. And then the moment life gets tough, the excitement fades and their dreams fade with it. But discipline doesn't fade. Discipline keeps you on track when inspiration leaves. It's the thing that allows you to do what you said you would do, even when the world is trying to distract you, even when friends and family don't understand your vision, even when fear and doubt start whispering in your ear. Let me give you an example. Think about the people you admire most. I promise you, the people who are at the top of their fields, the ones who seem unstoppable, the ones who inspire millions, they all have one thing in common: discipline. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't wait for the right mood or the right timing. They set up routines, they create habits, and they stick to them religiously. You want to be successful in 2026, you must master the art of self-discipline. You must understand that every decision you make, every small choice, either pulls you to your dreams or pulls you further away. It's not about luck. It's not about talent. It's about consistency. And consistency comes from discipline. Now, I know some of you are sitting here thinking, Steve, I've tried to be disciplined before and I failed. I don't think I can do it. Let me tell you something. Failing doesn't make you a failure. It makes you human. What makes the difference is getting back up and trying again, applying discipline in new ways, and learning from the mistakes you made. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being relentless, about refusing to give up, about understanding growth doesn't happen in a day. It happens over months and years of steady, committed action. And here's the secret: when you cultivate discipline, you don't just grow in your career, in your finances, or in your relationships, you grow in character. You develop a confidence that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you have what it takes to persevere. You develop resilience because discipline teaches you to endure the hard seasons, to push through the challenges, and to keep going when others quit. Discipline also teaches you focus. In a world full of distractions, social media, endless notifications, opinions of others, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. But when you are disciplined, you can say no to the things that pull you away from your vision. You can prioritize your time, your energy, and your attention on the things that actually move the needle in your life. You become unstoppable because you know where you're going, and nothing can shake you from that path. And let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, it is this focus, this relentless pursuit fueled by discipline, that turns ordinary people into legends. So as we approach 2026, I want you to understand this. If there is one golden rule you must never forget, it is to embrace discipline like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Discipline is not a punishment. It's a superpower. It's what will allow you to wake up every morning with purpose, to chase your dreams relentlessly, to overcome obstacles, and to become the person you've always wanted to be. And here's the beautiful part: the more disciplined you become, the more freedom you actually gain. Freedom from procrastination, freedom from regret, freedom from mediocrity. Discipline is the engine that drives your potential, and when you commit to it fully, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most powerful things you can do as you step into 2026 is to take full responsibility for your life. Now, I know some people hear that and they think, Steve, that sounds harsh. Life isn't fair. I've been through things I didn't choose. And I get it, I do. Life throws challenges at all of us: losses, setbacks, disappointments, and unexpected twists that make us question whether we're even capable of getting back up. But here's the truth. The moment you start blaming circumstances, other people, or even luck for where you are, you give away your power. You put yourself in the passenger seat when you should be the driver. Taking responsibility is about owning your story, owning your decisions, and understanding that your future depends on the actions you take today. It's about realizing that no matter what happened yesterday, you have the power to shape tomorrow. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems, to hand you opportunities, or to approve your dreams. You recognize that you are author of your own life, and that's a very liberating place to be. Think about the people who inspire you most. The ones who overcame incredible odds, who became successful despite challenges, who didn't have all the advantages. Do you know what they all share? They never waited for life to be fair. They didn't complain about their circumstances. They took responsibility. They looked at what was in their control and they acted. They accepted that mistakes would happen, that phase would come, but they refused to let those moments define them. They learned from them, adjusted, and kept moving forward. That is what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers blame, doers act. And as you enter 2026, you have to decide which one you are going to be. Are you going to be someone who points fingers? Are you going to be someone who takes charge and builds a life worth living? Taking responsibility also means taking ownership of your choices, not just your circumstances. Every decision you make has consequences, good or bad. Sometimes those choices are small, almost invisible. A single email you didn't send, a call you didn't make, a habit you ignored, but over time, those small choices accumulate into the life you live. When you own your choices, you start paying attention to them. You become intentional about how you spend your time, your energy, and your resources. You start making decisions that align with your goals instead of reacting to life as it comes. And here's the thing, when you are intentional, when you take responsibility for your decisions, you gain confidence. You stop feeling like a victim and start feeling like a leader of your own destiny. I also want to remind you that taking responsibility doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. Nobody gets it right all the time. The people who take responsibility most effectively are the ones who accept their mistakes, learn from them, and use them as stepping stones. They don't dwell on what went wrong. They focus on what they can do next. And that mindset, that discipline of ownership, is what propels you forward faster than any skill, any connection, or any amount of luck. It creates resilience, determination, and a level of self-respect that can't be shaken. Now, let's get real for a moment. Some of you are thinking, I don't have control over everything. And that's true. None of us do. But here's the golden nugget. You have control over how you respond, how you act, and how you grow from the situation. That is the essence of responsibility. That is where true power lies. When you stop blaming, when you stop waiting, and when you start owning your life, everything changes. Doors that seemed closed start opening. Opportunities that seemed invisible become visible. And most importantly, you start building a future that no one else can take away from you. So as you step into 2026, I want you to make this commitment to yourself. No more excuses, no more blaming, no more waiting for someone else to make your life better. Take responsibility, own your story, own your choices, own your actions. And remember, the moment you do, you become unstoppable. You become the person who doesn't just dream but achieves, who doesn't just wish but acts, who doesn't just hope but makes things happen. Taking responsibility isn't just a rule. It's the golden principle that separates those who live small lives from those who leave a legacy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you change everything in 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, as we move into 2026, there is one thing I want you to understand more than anything else. Your mindset determines your reality. I'm not just talking about thinking happy thoughts or saying affirmations without action. I'm talking about the deep, consistent belief in yourself, in your ability to overcome obstacles, and in the vision you have for your life. Your mind is the command center of everything you do. If you allow negative thoughts, doubts, and fears to dominate your thinking, No matter how talented or hardworking you are, you will never reach your full potential. But when you take control of your mindset, when you feed it with positivity, resilience, and faith in your own ability, you open doors that you never even knew existed. The truth is, most people fail long before they even try because their mindset tells them they can't. They focus on what's missing, what's wrong, what could go wrong. And that mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. In 2026, I want you to refuse that. I want you to make a decision that no matter what happens, you will train your mind to see opportunity, to see growth, and to see your own power. Now, mindset is not something that changes overnight. It is cultivated every single day through the thoughts you allow, the words you speak, and the habits you practice. Every time you tell yourself you can't, you are programming your brain for failure. Every time you tell yourself you will try, you are planting a seed for success. And let me tell you something, those seeds grow. They grow into confidence, into determination, into a resilience that cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks. Mindset is the engine that fuels persistence. It is the fuel that keeps you moving when the path is unclear and the world seems against you. And here's the secret. Successful people are not smarter than anyone else. They are not luckier. They are simply more disciplined about controlling their mindset. They refuse to let fear, doubt, or negativity dictate their lives. I know some of you are thinking, Steve, I've tried to think positively, but life keeps knocking me down, and I hear you. Life is going to test you, life is going to challenge you, and life will sometimes make you feel small. But here's the key: mindset is not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing how you respond to reality. It's about focusing on what you control instead of what you can't. It's about seeing solutions instead of problems, opportunities instead of obstacles, lessons instead of failures. Every successful person you admire has faced tremendous challenges, but what separates them is their ability to maintain a mindset that refuses to quit. That refusal to give in is what propels ordinary people to achieve extraordinary results. And let me remind you, mindset is contagious. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you engage in, the media you consume, they all influence your thinking. If you want to change your life in 2026, you have to protect your mind like it's gold. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who challenge you to grow, who see your potential even when you can't. Avoid negativity, avoid excuses. Avoid people who try to convince you that your dreams are impossible. Your mindset will shape your habits will shape your actions, and your actions will shape your life. It's a chain reaction, and it all starts in your mind. So as you step into the new year, I want you to make a promise to yourself. No matter what happens, you will guard your mind. You will train it, feed it, and protect it. You will replace doubt with faith, fear with courage, and worry with action. You will focus on what is possible, not what is probable. And as you do that, you will start seeing doors open that you never imagined. You will attract opportunities, ideas, and people who align with your vision. You will become unstoppable because your mindset is now your most powerful ally. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, success starts in the mind. If you control your mind, you control your life. If you feed your mind positivity, resilience, and belief, you will be able to face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and achieve any goal. Your mindset is the golden rule that can make or break your 2026. Treat it with respect, nurture it every day, and watch as it transforms your dreams into reality. When you step into the new year with a mindset that refuses to accept limits, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we approach 2026, I want to leave you with one final truth that can completely change the trajectory of your life if you want different results. If you want to achieve greatness, if you want to create a life that excites you, you must take bold action. And I don't mean small, safe, cautious steps. I'm talking about stepping out of your comfort zone, moving past fear, and doing the things that scare you, the things that challenge you, the things that make your heart pound and your palms sweat. Because growth doesn't happen where it's comfortable. Growth doesn't happen in the safety of routine or in the shadows of hesitation. Growth happens when you dare to move forward, even when the odds seem stacked against you. When you push past self-doubt, when you choose courage over comfort. And here's the truth: the moment you commit to bold action, doors that were invisible start appearing. Opportunities you never imagined come into your life. People who can help guide and support you show up. But it all starts with one decision to act. Now, I'm no someone sitting there thinking, Steve, I'm scared. I don't know if I can do it. What if I fail? Let me tell you something: fear is normal. Fear is a part of life. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the absence of fear. It's what you do with it. You see, fear is a signal, not a stop sign. It's your body telling you that something important is ahead, something that matters, something that will stretch you. And when you act in the face of fear, that's when transformation begins. That's when you realize that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. That's when you start writing a story that others will admire, a story that future generations will look at and say, they dared to do what most people wouldn't. Taking bold action also means refusing to wait for perfect conditions. Many people delay their dreams because they think the timing has to be perfect, the resources have to be perfect, or the situation has to be just right. Let me tell you something. Perfect conditions don't exist. There will never be a moment where everything lines up perfectly. The moment you wait for perfect is the moment your life passes you by. The people who achieve greatness act despite imperfections. They act despite fear. They act despite uncertainty. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for comfort. And they don't wait for the world to approve. They act boldly, intentionally, and relentlessly. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the golden rule that can set your 2026 apart from every other year of your life. I want you to think about all the opportunities you've missed in the past, all the moments where you hesitated, all the times you let fear or doubt stop you. I want you to understand that 2026 is your chance to flip the script. It's your chance to step into a new version of yourself, one that is brave, determined, and unstoppable. And remember, bold action doesn't always mean giant leaps. Sometimes it's a series of small, courageous steps repeated consistently that compound over time into extraordinary results. But whatever it looks like for you, the key is to act. Don't overthink, don't overanalyze, just move. Take that first step, then the next, and you will find that the path becomes clear as you walk it. And here's another thing: bold action inspires others. When you take risks, when you pursue your dreams fearlessly, when you refuse to settle for mediocrity, you become a magnet for opportunity, connection, and influence. People are drawn to courage. People are drawn to energy. People are drawn to action. And when you act boldly, you not only change your own life, but you create ripples that affect everyone around you, your family, your friends, your community, even strangers who witness your courage and are inspired to act themselves. So as you step into 2026, I want you to remember this: fear is temporary, regret lasts forever. Comfort is fleeting, growth lasts a lifetime. The golden rule for the new year is to take bold action, to push past hesitation, to step out of your comfort zone, and to pursue your dreams with relentless determination. Because it is in action, not in thought, not in wishful thinking, not in waiting, that your life truly begins. You have the power, you have the vision, and you have the opportunity. Now it's time to act. Step boldly into 2026 and make it the year that changes everything.